Happy New Year. Come to a comfortable seated position. If you have blocks and you want to sit on a block, you can do so. If this is still not comfortable and you don't have blocks, take a blanket and roll it up and just place the blanket under your hips, something to elevate your hips, and you might find it's a little more comfortable. So it's a new year, the beginning of a new year. During this time, many people like to set a New Year's resolution. I think it's a great idea if that resolution is something that's really authentic and meaningful to you as an individual. When I was younger, I used to set New Year's resolutions thinking I should because everyone else is, so it must be a good thing. But usually those resolutions didn't last. They weren't really authentic to what I needed. They were just something I thought I should do. But when I started practicing more yoga and getting into the philosophy of yoga, I began to understand the authenticity of setting a resolution, of something meaningful, of letting go of habits and choices that no longer serve me, and welcoming new habits and choices that serve me better, that are more in alignment with what works for my life. And that's a very personal thing. For everyone, it's a little different. So during this practice, I invite you to think about the whole practice of resolutions. And if there's something in your life that is no longer serving you, play with letting go of that. Or if there's something in your life that you really need that is calling you, play with welcoming that in and finding a way to make that work. New Year's resolutions are a chance, they are something, it's a time of renewal, or a chance to begin anew. There's a lovely quote by Lao Tzu, he's a Chinese philosopher. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. So during this practice, just play with what's working in your life and embrace that and reinforce that. And also, if things come up that are not working, see if there's a way you can let them go. So bring your hands to your side. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Turn your palms out as you exhale, lower your arms. Inhale, lift your arms up. And exhale, let go. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. One more time. Place your left hand on the mat beside you. Turn your right palm out. Inhaling, reach your right arm up over your head and over to the other side. Placing that right sit bone on the mat. Draw your right elbow back. Back to center and lower your right hand down. Inhale, reach your left arm up and over to the other side, drawing that left elbow back. Press that left sit bone into the mat. And back to center. On an inhale, reach the crown of your head as high as you can, finding space in your spine. As you exhale, twist to the left, right hand on left knee, and left hand behind you. Inhaling deeply and exhaling, just gently invite your body to twist more deeply. And come on back to center, lengthening your spine on an inhale. And as you exhale, twist to the right, left hand on right knee and right hand behind you. And then make your way back to center. Just lower your left ear towards your left shoulder. Let your right shoulder feel heavy. Just breathe into the stretch. And now turn to your left. Just look on the mat on the floor. And you can even place your left hand on the mat if you wish. And keep lowering your left ear towards your left shoulder, and then there's a little twist here. And then back to center. And now lower your right ear to your right shoulder, letting your left shoulder feel heavy. And now turn your gaze to the mat on the right, maybe placing your hand on the mat. And breathe. And then back to center. Uncross your legs. And actually, before we do that, let's bring your feet wider than your hips, so maybe almost as wide as the mat. Bring your hands behind you. Let your knees roll to the left and back to center, and then over to the right and back to center. Just move your knees back and forth a couple of times. And then back to center. Swing your feet behind you and make your way to tabletop. So to begin, have your wrists directly below your shoulders, knees below your hips. You want your wrist creases square, parallel to the front of the mat. Now if this bothers your knees, you've got a couple of options. One, you can roll up a blanket and place the blanket under your knees, or you can simply roll up your mat and place your knees on the mat if you don't have enough padding. And if your wrists tend to be tender here, walk your hands forward an inch or so, but also press into the mat more with your knuckles and fingertips, trying to keep your wrists a bit lighter. Try to take some of the weight out of your wrists. You can also engage your arms rather than collapsing into your wrists. On an inhale, arch your back, lower your chest, your belly towards the mat. So you're really tilting your pelvis and then looking up. On an exhale, round your back, reach your spine towards the ceiling and let your head lower. And inhale, arch your back, lower your belly, look up. And exhale, round your back. Just keep going. Follow your breath. If some of these poses do not feel right on your body, if it really is hurting in a not a good way, back off from the poses. And by not a good way, if it's hurting in the joints, just back right off. If it's a muscular discomfort, it might just be that it's a good thing and you might want to challenge yourself. But really pay attention to how each pose feels in your body. And now come back to a neutral spine, a nice flat back. Walk your knees together. Reach your right leg out behind you. Point the toes towards the mat. And if your right hip is just lifted, which it often does in this pose, just lower it. You want your hips level, your right hip to be level with your left. Now you may already feel some engagement in your abdominal muscles. That's a good pain, if it's a pain. It's a good sensation. Now either stay here or extend your left arm out front. Reach your fingertips forward and draw your left shoulder back into your body. Do the same with your right foot. Imagine you can press the back wall with your right foot, but then draw that hip into your body. And then lower your hand to the mat. Keep the right leg straight and lower the toes to the mat. Press the heel back. And lower the right knee and place it beside the left. Now extend the left leg out behind you, toes pointing towards the mat. Again, make sure that that left hip, if it's rising, lower it so it's level with your right. You might find that this side is harder than the other, or easier. Now option to extend your right arm out front, reaching forward with your fingertips, drawing that right shoulder into the body. And lower the hand to the mat. Keep the left leg straight and lower the toes to the mat. Pressing the toes into the mat, push the heel back. And then lower your left knee, place it beside your right. Keep your hips above your knees. They may want to come forward in this next movement. Try to keep them directly above your knees. Walk your hands forward, as far forward as you can, and let your chest and forehead lower towards the mat. If they reach, that's great. You can rest your forehead on the mat. If they don't, you can also place a block on your forehead, on the mat to rest your forehead on, at any height. And just, this is a nice pose to open your chest. Let your chest open towards the mat. And then walk your hands back under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat. Keep the knees bent as you walk your feet forward to your hands. And then fold forward, keeping your knees as bent as you need to keep your spine straight. You may even find your belly touches your thighs. And then just let your head dangle. If your hands don't reach the mat, you can either cross your arms or you can place your hands on blocks. And then play with straightening one leg and then the other. Now as you inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Slowly rise to standing. Bring your arms up over your head. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And release. Just stay where you are. I'm just going to show you from the front. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release. Now take your feet a little wider than hip distance apart, but have your feet parallel to each other. Reach your arms up over your head. With your left hand, grab your right wrist. Extend your right arm up as high as you can. Let your hips roll to the right and bring your hands to the left. Check in that your feet, your weight is evenly distributed in each foot. Then back to center, switch sides, right hand on left wrist. Extend your left arm up, hips to the left, hands to the right, but make sure your weight is evenly distributed. And then back to center, and release. Bring your feet hip distance apart, feet parallel to each other. You can stay at the edge, the front of your mat. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Knees are soft. Keep your spine straight so you're leading with your chest. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, come halfway up. Nice straight spine, shoulders back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Inhaling, lift your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Hands to your heart. And release. This time, inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward. Place your hands on the mat or on blocks if you're using them, if you prefer. And feet are hip distance apart. Step your right foot straight back behind you as far as you can go. Now, really think about, you want to make sure your left knee is above or behind the left ankle. If you didn't step back far enough and your left knee is past your ankle, it's a lot harder. It can be a little hard on your knee. So step your right foot back so your left knee is above or behind. I'm trying to show you above or behind the ankle. Look straight ahead. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Keep your hips and shoulders square to the front of the mat. Maybe straighten the right leg. Now lower both hands to the mat on either side of the left foot, and then lower the right knee to the mat. Send both hips forward. And again, check in that your knee is above or behind the ankle, not out here. And you can use blocks if that's more comfortable. And just invite both hips forward. A lot of people get a nice stretch in that right hip flexor, maybe the left hip, maybe everywhere around the pelvic region. And now if you're using blocks, you can take them with them. If you're not, you can just walk your hands back and straighten the left leg. Flex those left toes towards you. And then lower that left foot to the mat. Bend the left knee and walk the hands forward again. Move the blocks to the side. Both hands on the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Lift the right knee up off the mat. And step the right foot forward to meet the left. And fold. On your next inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Slowly come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. And now keep the feet hip distance apart. And step your left foot straight back behind you. Hands on hips. Bend your right knee. So again, face the front of the mat. Hips and shoulders square to the front of the mat. Maybe deepen the lunge. Option to straighten the left leg. Reach your arms up over your head. Now lower both hands to either side of the right foot, either on the mat or on blocks. Step your left foot back even further. And then lower that left knee to the mat, sending both hips forward. Check that your right knee is pointing in the same direction as your right foot, or make adjustments for that. Just breathe here. And now walk your hands back and straighten your right leg and flex those toes towards you. Bend your right knee and walk your hands forward. Tuck your left toes under if they're not already tucked. Lift your left knee up off the mat and step your left foot forward to meet your right. And fold. Try to keep your spine straight, letting your upper body fold more deeply. Knees can be bent, or you can play with straightening them. Another nice option here is just to rest your elbows on your thighs. As you inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing, lifting your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. So for this next pose, just keep your blocks handy if you're using them. And again, if you do not have blocks, I will give you options. There's a way to do this pose without any props. So feet are hip distance apart, feet parallel to each other. Step your right foot straight back behind you. And now turn the right toes out and lower that heel to the mat. Hands on hips, face forward, and straighten the left leg. Hips and shoulders both facing the front of the mat. So legs are straight, spine is straight. Send your hips back. Keep your spine straight, so lead with the chest and fold forward. Draw that left hip back. So just, if you don't have blocks, keep your hands on your hips. If you have blocks, you can either keep your hands on your hips or grab the blocks. And just keep inviting your body forward without rounding your back. And you can place the blocks at any height. For some, you may reach the ground. Don't worry about it. The important thing here is to be comfortable where you are. What's best for your pose. Now bend your left knee and step your right foot forward to meet your left. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing, lifting your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Now again, feet hip distance apart. Step your left foot straight back behind you. Hands on hips, bring that left hip forward. Hips and shoulders square to the front of the mat. Left toes pointed out at a 45-degree angle, so just bring that left heel in. Bring your hands on your hips, send your hips back and lead with your chest and fold. If your back starts to round, come up a bit. Don't worry about how far you go. It's more about how you feel in the pose. Either staying here or placing your hands on blocks or maybe on the mat. Or keep your hands on the hips. This is Parsvattanasana, pyramid pose. And slowly come on back up. Bend your right knee and step your left foot forward to meet your right. Now turn and face the wide part of your mat and take your feet nice and wide. Feet parallel to each other, all four corners of each foot on the mat. So baby toe side, big toe side, everything flat on the mat. Now pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes out. Draw that left hip back. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. So arms and legs are straight here, but there is a micro bend in the knees, so they're not locked. You want to be able to engage all the muscles. Reach forward with your right hand, go as far as you can. When you're ready, lower your right hand down and lift. Lower your right hand down, left arm up. If this bothers your left shoulder in any way, this hand can rest on the hips. Even in your practice, think of your resolution. What works? What doesn't? What might serve your practice better? What can you let go of that is no longer serving you? This is Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. Slowly rise to standing and lower your arms. Place your hands on your hips and bend your right knee. Again, take a look at your knee and foot. Make sure they're lined, pointing both in the same direction. If they're not, it can torque your knee a bit, which you do not want to do. Try to keep your shoulders above your hips. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing down. Turn and look over your right fingertips. Shoulders are soft away from your ears. Even here, engage the muscles in your arms. Draw your shoulder blades together. Can you deepen the lunge? Press that left foot flat on the mat. For a little more engagement, squeeze, hug the feet together. One more breath. And lower your arms and straighten your right leg. Pivot on that right heel and bring the toes in. So your feet are parallel to each other. Hands on hips. As you inhale, really lengthen your spine. And just like the forward fold, as you exhale, keep your spine straight, hinge at the hips, send the hips back and fold forward halfway. So for some, you may just come partway. That is totally fine. Maybe some come a bit deeper. But stop when your shoulders are the same height as your hips if you get there. And now bring your arms out to the side. Or you can keep them on your hips if this is already enough. Or for a little more engagement, you can reach your arms out front. And bring your hands back to your hips and come on up to standing. Now pivot on the left heel, turn the left toes out to face the other way. We're going to come into triangle pose on this side. This is where the arms and legs stay straight, but the joints are not locked. You have a micro bend in the knees because you want to be able to engage all the muscles. So face the side of your mat, right toes facing forward, left toes facing the long end of the mat. Bring your arms out to the side. Reach forward with your left hand. Try to keep space in that left side body. Go as far as you can. And then when you've gone as far as you possibly can, let that left arm come down, right arm come up. Draw that right shoulder back. And again, on this side, if you have any issues with shoulder, right hand can stay on right hip. And for some, that left hand will be by the thigh, the knee, maybe the shin. For some, reach the mat. Just come into the pose where it's best for you today. Slowly come on to standing and lower your arms. Bend your left knee. Check that your left knee is going in the same direction as your left foot, or adjust your foot so it is. Draw the right hip back. Bring your arms out to the side. Shoulders are staying directly above your hips here. Turn and look over your left fingertips. Maybe deepen the lunge. This is Virabhadrasana 2 or Side Warrior Parshva Virabhadrasana. Maybe deepen the lunge. For a little more engagement, really hug your feet together. And breathe. And lower your arms and straighten your left leg. Pivot on your left heel and bring your toes in. So now your feet are parallel to each other. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward. Maybe placing hands on the mat or on a block if that's what you need. And or another nice option is to cross your arms and let your elbows dangle. See what's best for you. Now bend your left knee and walk your hands over to your left foot, but press your right foot into the mat. And then walk back to center. So left leg stays straight now. Bend your right knee and walk your hands over to your right foot. Pressing your left foot into the mat. And back to center. Place your hands on your hips. Come on up to standing. And heel toe your feet together. So we're going to do a couple of rounds of Chandra Namaskar. It's moon salutations. As we go through this practice, the sequence, it's more of a cooling practice. Think about just flowing gently through water as we go through this. And just breathe naturally. We're not tying the movement to the breath here. And just flow through the practice as best you can. So bring your hands to your heart. Reach your arms up over your head. Let your hips go to the right, hands to the left. And back to center. Hips to the left and hands to the right. And back to center. Bend your elbows, palms facing each other. Take your feet slightly wider and turn your toes out. And bend your knees. Toes are soft. Straighten your legs. Straighten your arms, palms facing down. Pivot on your toes and send your heels out. Now pivot on your right heel, turn your right toes out. Reach forward with your right hand. Lower your right arm down, let your left arm come up. And breathe. And then come on back to standing. And lower your arms. Pivot on your left heel and turn your left toes in. So you're now facing the front. Adjust your left foot out to the left so that you can balance. Hands on hips. Lead with your chest and fold forward. Bend your right knee and lower your hands to the mat. Step your left foot back as far as you can. Bring both hands to the inside of the right foot. Pivot on the feet and face the side. Right knee bent, left leg straight. Walk your hands to center. Bend your left knee and walk your hands over to the other foot. Turn and face the other end of the mat. Step your right foot forward and out to the right, just enough that you can pivot on the toes and lower the heel to the mat. Straighten the left leg, either keeping hands on the mat or hands on hips. Draw that left hip back. Come on up. Just breathe naturally. Pivot on the right heel, bringing the right toes out. Left foot parallel to the long end of the mat. Bring the arms out to the side. Reach forward with the left hand. Then let the left arm come down, right arm come up. Come on back up. Arms stay out. Pivot on the left heel. Adjust the feet so they're parallel to each other. Bend your elbows, palms facing each other. Pivot on the toes and bring the heels in. Bend your knees. Straighten the legs. Just bring the feet in slightly, feet parallel. Straighten your arms, hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center. Hips to the other side, hands opposite. Back to center. Hands to your heart. And release. So we'll do this one more time. I'll give you a little less direction, but just flow with it as best you can. Hands to your heart. Reach your arms up over your head. Hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center. And the other side. Back to center. Bend your elbows, pivot on your heels, turn your toes out, and bend your knees. Straighten your legs, Pivot on your toes, sending your heels out nice and wide, and straighten your arms. Right toes towards the front. Reach forward with your right hand, lower your right arm down, left arm up. Come on back up. Lower your arms, pivot on that left heel, bring the toes in, and just adjust your left foot out to the left so you're facing forward, feet hip distance apart. Hips back, lead with the chest and fold. Place your hands on the mat, step your left foot back as far as you can. Both hands to the inside of the right foot. Pivot on your feet and turn and face the side. Left leg stays straight. Walk your hands over to your left foot, bending your left knee. Straighten your right leg. Pivot and turn and face the other end of your mat. Step your right foot forward and out to the right. Pivot on the toes and lower the heel to the mat. And straighten the left leg in any version that works for you. Come on up to standing. Pivot on the right heel, bring your right toes out. Right foot is facing forward, left toes to the left. Arms out to the side, reach forward with your left hand. Lowering your left arm down, lift your right arm up. Breathe. Come on back up to standing. Pivot on that left heel, bring the left toes in. Adjust your feet so they're parallel to each other. Bend your elbows, palms facing each other. Bring the heels in, toes out. Bend your knees. Straighten your legs. Straighten your arms. Just bring your toes in. Feet are parallel. Hips to one side, hands to the other. Back to center. Hips to the other side, hands opposite. Back to center. Hands to your heart. And release. So now come to the front of your mat. Feet parallel to each other, hip distance apart. Step your left leg straight back behind you. Hands on hips. Bend your right knee. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Now lower your arms and step your back foot forward. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Keeping your knees soft, as you exhale, fold forward. So, feet are parallel to each other. Your torso is facing the floor, arms out in front. Put all the weight in your right leg. Begin to step your left toes back. Focus your gaze on a spot on the floor in front of you. Maybe you stay here or play with lifting the left leg up. Flex that left foot and breathe. Warrior 3. Bring your hands to your heart and lower your left foot back down to the mat. Nicely done. Release your hands. And now step your right foot straight back behind you. Hands on hips, bend your left knee. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Maybe deepen the lunge. Lower your arms and step your right foot forward to meet your left. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Keep your knees soft, and as you exhale, fold forward. You're hinging at the hips, so keep your spine straight. Now place all the weight in your left foot and step your right foot back, resting the right toes on the mat. Maybe stay here, or when you're ready, lift the back leg up and flex those toes. Breathe. And then lower your foot to the mat and fold forward. Inhale and come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. So have your feet hip distance apart. We'll come into tree pose, Vrikshasana. So root down in your right foot. Have that right knee slightly bent. You can start with your hands on your hips and come onto the toes of your left foot and turn your left knee out. So focus your gaze on a spot either on the wall in front of you or even on the floor, whatever works for you, but something to steady your gaze. And again, standing knee, right knee slightly soft. Bring the sole of your left foot to your right ankle. This is already tree pose, resting your left toes on the mat. Or lift your left foot up and press the left foot into the right calf. Option to bring your hands to your heart. If you come out of it, just try again. Or reaching your arms up over your head. Another option is to place the sole of your right foot, sole of the left foot on the right inner thigh, but just be sure to avoid the knee. Either if it doesn't stay up on the inner thigh, keep your foot on the calf. And really press that foot into the mat, into your standing leg. I seem to be having trouble bouncing on this side today. It happens. And lower your hands. Release your foot. And now press your left foot into the mat, left knee slightly soft. Hands on your hips, and turn your right knee out to the side. Bring the sole of your right foot to the left ankle. Focus your gaze on a spot. It really does help with balance. An option to place the sole of the right foot on the left calf or the inner thigh. Whichever works for you today. Just avoid the knee. Hands to your heart. Option to reach your arms up over your head. Whoops. Must be windy in here today. Just breathe. Come back to your New Year's resolution. Can it serve you in this pose? Lower your arms. Release your hands and release your foot. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold. Just take a couple of breaths here, bending your knees if you need to, but letting your upper body melt towards the mat. Then bend your knees and come to a seated position. And straighten your right leg. And bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. And now turn and face your right leg. Left hand draped to the outside of the left leg. You can, if you can, try to keep that left leg, your right leg, straight. Inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, lead with your chest and walk your hands forward. If you have a strap or a tea towel or something in lieu of a strap, you can place the strap around your foot and pull it towards you. If you don't have anything, I actually usually do this pose without anything. But just think about, try to get that right knee on the mat and flex those toes towards you. And reach your chest towards your toes. Breathe here. And then walk your hands back. Place your left hand on the mat behind you. Roll onto your left knee. Lift your hips up and reach your right arm up and back behind you. And then lower your hips back down. Bring the soles of your feet together with both knees bent. Make your legs more in a diamond shape. If this is really uncomfortable, you can sit on a block or a bolster or a blanket, just something to elevate your hips. And lean your chest forward. If this is really uncomfortable, or if you're really rounding your back, start with your hands on the mat behind you. And then using your hands, push your chest forward. If you can easily come forward while keeping your spine straight, grab your ankles and lean your chest forward. If your elbows are anywhere near your knees, you can use your elbows to push your knees open a little bit more. And breathe here. Can you relax into the pose a little bit more? And then come on back up. Straighten your left leg and bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. And now turn and face your left leg. Right hand draped to the outside of the left leg. Left knee on the mat. Flex those toes towards you and send your chest forward, maybe walking your hands forward. And again, either you can walk your hands forward, maybe grab the outside of your foot, maybe your hands are by your knees. Or option, place a strap around the arch of your foot and lean forward. And breathe. And then come on back up. Take your right foot and place the right ankle on your left thigh. Bring your hands behind you. Try to keep that right foot flexed. And now bend your left knee and place your foot on the mat. I'll just turn so you can see what I'm doing. Try to open that right knee away from you. And if you feel like you could stay here all day, bring that left foot in closer to you, leaning forward, pushing that right knee away from you. And just breathe. Let go. And then straighten your left leg, straighten your right leg. And now you can stay where you are, but bend your left leg, place the left ankle above the right thigh, above the right knee. Hands behind you. Bend your right knee and place that right foot on the mat. Open your left knee away from you. Either stay here or bring that right foot closer to you. You can use your hands to push your chest forward. And breathe. Can you relax into the pose? Can you let go of what is not serving you in this pose? And then straighten the right leg, straighten the left leg. And actually, before we come on to our backs, straighten the right leg out front and bend the left knee. Actually, I don't know if you can see me. And bring the left foot close to you. With your right hand, hug the left knee. Around here. Bring your left hand behind you. Lengthen your spine. As you exhale, twist gently to the left. With every inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhaling, twist more deeply. And then back to center. Straighten your left leg, bend your right leg, bring the right foot on the mat. The left leg, hug the right knee. Bring your right hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gently twist to the right. Just breathe. And then back to center. And roll right onto your back. If you have a strap handy, just have it on the floor. Just gently hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. And if you don't have a strap, you can grab a dish towel or an old necktie works. Anything like that. Now keep hugging your right knee to your chest and straighten your left leg. Draw the right knee into your chest. And now grab the strap and place the strap around either the arch or the ball of the right foot. Left leg straight, strap around the right foot, and straighten the right leg. Now for some, you'll have it way up, forward. For others, we'll have it, the strap, wherever you need to have the leg straight. If it starts to bend, just lower the foot. And then just play with bringing the foot up. You can shorten the strap by wrapping it around your hands. But press that left knee into the mat while you bring your right leg forward. And breathe. And then to switch sides, place both feet, place the strap around both feet, and then release the right leg. So lower that right leg to the mat. Just lower the left foot enough to keep that right foot flat on the mat. And now, keeping the left leg straight, bring the left foot towards you, flexing that left foot. Breathe. And then release that foot. Hug your left knee into the chest. And then hug both knees into the chest and roll side to side. If you want more of a massage on your lower back, have your knees a little bit away from you. If you want to lift your hips up a bit, you can also hug your knees in tight. Or some people like your knees wide. Just play with what feels best in your body. What serves your practice? And now spread your knees wide and bring the soles of your feet together and grab your ankles. Pull your feet towards you. And if your elbows are anywhere near your knees, push your knees away from you with your elbows. Now take each foot and each hand and lift your feet up. Knees stay bent. The soles of the feet are facing the ceiling. And now rock side to side in Anadasana, happy baby. And then release your feet and lower your feet to the mat, keeping your knees bent. Bring your arms out to the side on the mat, so your arms are in a T position. Slide your hips over to the left and let your knees roll to the right. And now turn your head and face your left arm. Just breathe here. Let go. And slowly bring your knees back to center. And now slide your hips over to the right. Let your knees roll to the left. And turn your gaze and look at your right arm. Eyes may be open. You may wish to close your eyes here. We're slowing down. And then slowly come on back to center. And one more time, just softly either hug your knees to your chest or hug one knee straightening the other. Move in any way that feels best for your body. Maybe it's stretching your arms up over your head and give your body a full stretch. The next pose is Shavasana. So I'll lead you into Shavasana. I'll be doing a seated meditation. If you prefer to join me in that, you're welcome. But to prepare for Shavasana, if you like, grab a blanket to place over you, or grab a sweater. If you have an eye pillow and you want to use that, now is the time to get it. And when you're ready, settle into your mat, laying down completely, palms facing up, and let your body fully rest. Come into stillness. Just before you let go completely, just reflect if there's a resolution that you've set for the class or decided to let go of. Just notice it, but then let go of everything and come into full stillness. Relaxing each and every muscle in your body. And if thoughts come into your mind, just release them and come into stillness. Allow your breath to deepen. Softly wiggle your fingers, your toes. Maybe stretching your arms up over your head, stretching your legs, your whole body. When you're ready, roll over to your right side and make your way up to a seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. This is Winston. He usually joins the class after the bell rings. And true to form, he did it again today. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.